And at number 10, the couple secretly dated. At this point, we all know that Amber and Johnny met during the making of their movie, The Rum Diary, but we did not know until now that the romance did not start until the movie was done filming and the pair were together once again during the press tour. The press tour began right after Heard was going through a separation from her former partner, and she called it, quote, perfect timing. The press tour took place in 2011, and Heard said that being with him felt like magic. The pair were forced to keep their romance a secret because Depp split from his former partner, Vanessa Paradis, was not yet public. Depp and Paradis decided to keep the split private for the sake of their kids. Heard said, quote, we were in a bubble of secrecy. They both had feelings for each other and were both recently out of relationships. And at number 9, he would belittle the way she dressed. Amber stated that their relationship was always very intense, but over time it escalated and became more violent, bringing up how he would make snide comments about how she dressed and degrade her. One time when she wore a low-cut dress to a charity event, Johnny said, quote, you're gonna wear that, kid? Adding, quote, no wonder you're getting cast in those roles, insinuating that she was showing too much skin and it's getting her cast in sultry roles. She even recalled that he called other actresses, quote, worthless whores. He made it sound dirty to be an actress, Heard said, and if he got really mad while speaking about it, he would, quote, blow up and smash things, with Heard specifically saying that he loved to break furniture and glasses. And at number 8, Depp was generous with her family. When Heard was asked about Depp's relationship with her family, she said that it was great and both parties really liked each other. She recalled that Johnny was incredibly generous with her working class family, and her father liked Depp so much that he would, quote, have married him if I didn't. Depp showered her entire family with gifts, paid for family trips, and all around made sure to appreciate her parents. It's unclear what the motive was for her to paint Johnny in such a positive light at that point in the trial, but I believe it was concocted this way to show how their amazing relationship turned sour as time went on.
Number 7. The UK trial. When referring to the UK trial that Depp lost, Heard said, quote, there was another trial that dealt with the same substantive issues and had even more evidence in. What she's talking about, of course, is that the London court rejected Depp's defamation lawsuit and ruled that 12 of the 14 alleged incidents noted by the newspaper and that their headline calling Depp a wife-beater was proved to a civil standard. He even appealed to overturn the verdict, but it was unsuccessful, and shortly after the ruling, the actor stepped down from Fantastic Beasts because his reputation was torn to shreds. But it's true that there were quite a few differences between the two cases, namely the decision makers. So the case was tried in front of a judge in the UK and in front of a jury in the US. Heard is not going to let anyone forget the fact that she won the first case, and will probably delve into the 12 incidents of domestic violence, which were proven to be true. Heard and her lawyer Elaine Bredhoft kept bringing up these facts during their respective post-trial interviews on NBC. She's clearly dying to reveal just what was proven about Depp in the first trial.
And at number 6, explain first time she was hit. During Heard's testimony, we got to hear her side on the very first time that she was hit by Johnny. She told the jury, quote, I'll never forget it. It changed my life. Apparently they were together on the couch, drinking. Heard also testified that Depp was under the influence of harder illicit substances. Then Heard decided to ask him about a tattoo on his arm. He replied that it said, wino, prompting her to laugh, because she just didn't think it said that. But he allegedly did not find it funny and decided to slap her across the face, Heard testified, saying, quote, I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. I thought this must be a joke. She said she didn't move from her place because she was so shocked, continuing, quote, then he slapped me again one more time, hard. I lost my balance on the edge of the couch, and I wish so much that he'd say he was joking. Depp also allegedly said, you think you're funny, and Depp hit her a third time. When talking about the aftermath, Heard said, quote, I'm not dumb. I knew it was wrong and I knew that I had to leave him, and that's what broke my heart, because I didn't want to leave him. Depp denies this and claims Heard has an issue with the tattoo because it was done out of love for his ex-girlfriend, Winona Ryder.
Number 5. Using Johnny's children. With the trial finished and no onslaught of new information coming out every day, people were finally able to look back over the previous days and really dissect what had been said in the trial, and even what happened in the years leading up to it. One thing that many people realized and chose to call Amber out for was her apparent manipulation of Johnny's children, and how it seemed that she had purposefully used them against him. She would often criticize Johnny's abilities as a father, saying that they needed to be raised by a real man, and as a result the children should be raised by their stepfather instead of him. Johnny has constantly made statements about how he tries to do everything for his kids, and said that his main reason for pursuing the child was for his children. So this had to have been a big emotional hit for him. She also used the children often in the trial against him, claiming that she had been standing up to Johnny in defense of the children, but a lot of people see this as just having been a planned move by Amber.
And at number 4, strange moment filming The Rum Diary. Heard told the jury about a strange moment that happened between the pair during the filming of their movie. At this time, both Heard and Depp had feelings for one another, but neither was acting on it because they were both still in relationships. At one point, the pair were talking and Heard was wearing a robe, completely naked underneath. Recalling, quote, "He kind of picked up the back of my robe with his boot and I kind of turned around and giggled. He kind of playfully pushed me down on his bed, sofa, playful and flirtatious, and he said, 'Yum,' and kind of lifted his eyebrows up like that." At the time, Heard remembered it being strange, but since she liked him, it didn't bother her.
Number 3. The huge TMZ lie. The crazy testimony from Morgan Tremaine, former TMZ journalist, revealed that the celebrity news publication had been able to get access to exclusive photos and videos of Heard during her divorce from Depp. Tremaine told the court that he was tipped off on her whereabouts and he was able to dispatch paparazzi to her location. So why was this a mess for Heard? Well, in her own recorded testimony, she claimed that she was caught off guard by the photographers and that she has no idea how TMZ got a hold of the story. This is something she really needs to address in her tell-all book because there's a clip of her which went viral showing the exact moment she slipped up by admitting that TMZ was alerted. In the video, she tries to hide the mistake by suddenly wiping her face, but it's very clear from body language alone and her big physical reaction that she had been caught in a lie. Heard has some serious explaining to do about that moment.
And at number 2, Amber admits the trial is horrible. When Amber first took the stand, she pointed out to the jury that reliving all these memories has been hard, saying, quote, "This is horrible for me. I'm here because my ex-husband is suing me." Getting even more emotional, Heard continued, quote, "I struggle to find the words to describe how painful this is. This is horrible for me to sit here for weeks and relive everything," tearing up as she spoke. Quote, "This is the most painful and difficult thing I've ever gone through," she said to the jury. Amber broke down several times during her testimony, crying while recalling details of their relationship. And finally, at number 1, relationship was intense. In the beginning of their relationship, Amber and Johnny were on a high, very obsessed with one another and feeling like they had met their soulmates. The relationship was so hot and heavy in the beginning. Amber admitted that Johnny hinted at marriage only days after meeting her. When describing how he treated her, she said it was, quote, "That kind of feeling where he had lavish gifts, lavish expressions of love, and how he'd never met a woman like me. At one point he even made a fake wedding ring for her. Quote, I remember he took the foil off of this bottle and put it on my ring finger, and I'd only been with him like days, maybe it was weeks at the time. It just felt very intense." This is very interesting considering Depp was with Vanessa Paradis, who he shares 2 kids with, for 14 years, but they never got married.
Number 10. Therapist notes. As Amber Heard continues to try and defend herself despite no longer being on the stand, she said she has therapist notes that prove she was a victim of mistreatment by Johnny Depp. She revealed the information in her tell-all interview and has already started receiving backlash in regards to it. She said, "There's a binder worth of years of notes dating back to 2011, from the very beginning of my relationship, that was taken by my doctor who I was reporting the abuse to. The notes were originally not submitted into the trial as evidence, apparently due to fears of them being seen as hearsay. People on the internet seem to be accusing her of having written the notes herself. One person on the internet who claimed to be a therapist said, I was a therapist for a decade. I worked in child protection and DV and hospitals. Therapists never write like this. We use short form notes, underheadings with lots of abbreviations and acronyms. And they're also pointing out similarities between Amber's own writing and the so-called therapist notes. Many people seeming to believe that the notes are totally fake." Number 9. 20K Airbnb. After the verdict was reached and Amber was ordered to pay $10.35 million to Depp, many people were wondering how she would be able to pay him, especially when her lawyer Elaine said in an interview that Heard definitely didn't have the means to pay it. So people were shocked when they found out where she had been staying during the trial. It was revealed that she was staying in an over $20,000 a month mansion in Virginia throughout the course court proceedings. It's touted as one of the most luxurious private estates in the area, being 13,000 square feet in total and just a 25-minute drive from the courthouse. Witnesses reported seeing Heard at the property alongside her sister and daughter, as well as her entire security team. So while her net worth and her lawyer's statements make it seem like she doesn't have much to spare, she might have much more than we're aware of. Number 8. Aquaman struggles. After Amber's reputation was all but destroyed thanks to the public's and social media's involvement in the trial, many people were left wondering if she would be dropped from the upcoming sequel to Aquaman, which had already been filmed. Amber's defenders touting this as a big point of how the trial had apparently ruined her life, and attacking those who had caused it to seem that way. Well, as it turns out, her potential removal from the sequel was not the public's fault as many would want you to think, but instead her own. Amber herself revealed that her character wasn't even originally planned to be in the sequel, but that she had fought to have her character have a large role and be featured more prominently within the script. So as much as she might try to place blame on people on the internet for bullying her and ruining her career, she may want to just switch to movies that actually want her.
And at number 7, Depp cried the first time. Johnny Depp got down on his knees and sobbed after hitting Amber Heard for the first time, the actress testified. Apparently he got so angry that he slapped her and she was in shock. After it happened, Depp apologized profusely, even crying at one point. Apparently Depp cried and said, quote, "I will never do that again, I'm so sorry, baby, I thought I put the monster away." At that point, Heard knew she needed to leave him, but didn't want to. Continuing, quote, "I wish I could say I stood up and walked out of the house, but I didn't. I was heartbroken." A few days later, Depp told her that he would rather cut his hand off than lay it on her. Heard testified, adding that he was calling and texting her to apologize, and eventually she forgave him and took him back. But unfortunately, that was not the last time that she claims that he hit her.
Number 6. The NBC Tell-All. People eagerly awaited Amber Heard's interview on NBC Dateline, where she was apparently going to reveal her side of the story. But as with everything surrounding the trial, the piece was immediately met with controversy and backlash, the majority of it coming from a small editing choice. When speaking out about people in toxic relationships, she said that they, referring to people in toxic relationships, don't have the resources you or I do, explicitly excluding herself from the group of people in bad relationships. They obviously realized their mistake, as when it was released, they edited this out, and they didn't get away with it. People said things like, hashtag Amber Heard's new interview is exactly why the trial needed to be televised live and unedited. The full Dateline interview actually edited out the slip-up about the resources she has that DV victims don't. Another fact about the interview was that she had received all the questions beforehand and had been allowed to make any editing notes to help portray their narrative.
Number 5. Exposing her lawyers. There's no question about whether or not Heard will try to throw her lawyers under the bus. After all, Dr. Shannon Curry evaluated her for 12 hours and said that she often externalizes blame. One of the ways she could do this is by exposing what it was that her lawyers instructed her to do in the courtroom. In fact, throughout the proceedings, many people questioned the competence of her defense team, and it's not hard to see why. Like the viral moment where Heard's lawyer, Adam Nadelhaft, objected to his own question, or when Elaine Bredhoft continually questioned Dr. Curry about muffins. In fact, she forgot to turn on her microphone so often that there's now a funny compilation of it online. There was even a clip posted online of her leaving the courtroom, which has since gone viral. After she was being questioned by Bredhoft, her attorney conceded that she had no more questions, and the judge told Heard to go and sit with her counsel. But instead, she chose not to sit with Bredhoft and instead just walked out of the room.
Number 4. Moving on. During and since the trial, Amber stated many times that she always just wanted to move on from the situation and never wanted any of it to go public. Well, secret's out, Amber. It was revealed in one of her writings that she had often threatened Johnny with a large media fiasco and constantly held the chance of things going public over his head throughout their relationship. She also constantly mocked, teased, and called him out over the years after their divorce, people citing social media posts which they believe were clearly in reference to Johnny Depp. Well, it seems like she definitely got her karma, as her threats to go public came very true, and it all turned out very bad for her. The cyberbullying and hatred that she has received online seems to just come as an unfortunate result of her getting what what she wanted, that being the world knowing the truth.
And at number 3, first time they met. Amber Heard told the jury about meeting Johnny Depp the first time while auditioning in 2008 for The Rum Diary, which she was starring in and producing. At the time, Heard was only 22 and a no-name actor, so it was intimidating to be in the room with him. Heard said she thought it was an audition, but it ended up being a meeting where the pair clicked. Saying, quote, "We talked about books and music and poetry. We liked a lot of the same stuff. Obscure writers and interesting books and pieces of poetry I haven't heard anyone else know or reference or like." Heard claimed she was not a fan or familiar with his work, but she obviously knew who he was because he was one of the most famous people in the world. Depp told her personally when she got the role, calling her and saying, quote, "You're it, kid, you're the dream." In his testimony, Depp recalled that he and Heard were, quote, "perfect partners" when they first met. He loved that she knew about blues music and called her sweet and funny.
Number 2, donation. One massive bombshell that actually came during the trial was that of Amber Heard's quote-unquote pledge to the ACLU. When Amber received $7 million from her divorce from Depp, she pledged to split the money between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital Los Angeles, saying that she would split the payments up over a few years. Up until the trial, they had only received around $1.3 million in separate installments, $100,000 of that actually coming from Johnny, and $500,000 coming from a separate account that many people believe to have been controlled by Elon Musk, whom Amber Heard had dated after she split from Johnny. So despite saying she had donated the money, she was lying through her teeth the whole time, attempting to defend herself by saying that she used the word pledge and donate synonymously. Well, you'd be the only one to do so, Amber. This was a massive part of the trial as it called into question just how many other things Amber might be trying to hide. Secrets out, Amber, you're not so great at keeping secrets. Number 1, bruises. One main point of the trial was when Amber Heard testified to having had bruises and injuries as a result of Johnny Depp, many people accusing her of having used makeup in order to create the illusion, but she strongly testified against this, until she didn't. Her even accidentally referring to the makeup kit she used to quote-unquote cover the bruises as a bruise kit. Many people took to social media, and more specifically TikTok, in order to break down what she had been saying and expose her for lying. First coming for the method she described having used to cover up the bruises, which was entirely incorrect and out of order. But the final nail in the coffin of this lie came when people looked at photos, which showed the supposed makeup palette she had referenced using. People were able to find the exact palette that she had been using, which is literally sold as and called a theater bruise and abrasion kit. Looks like the lying cat's out of the bag on that one.
Number 10, the James Franco video. This one remains a mystery, so it makes sense that one of the first things Heard will try to clear up is what really happened with James Franco. She got grilled about their relationship while she was on the stand when Depp's lawyers brought up a late-night visit by Franco to Heard's apartment in May 2016, which depicted the two getting physically close. You can even see the moment where Franco lays his head on her shoulder, but when asked about the reason he came to her apartment that night after 11 p.m., she said, quote, "Because he was my friend and he lived next door." Quite literally next door. Even though Heard vehemently denied any implications of infidelity, the video footage is ambiguous at best. In her testimony, Heard explained that she was close friends with Franco, whom she made 2 movies with. But did she really put him in the friend zone? Because Depp did testify that he thought they were having an affair, and he would apparently get very jealous about their relationship. That's something she will most likely have to address if she wants to get the public back on her side. Number 9, cheating with Elon Musk. 3 years ago, Depp accused Heard of cheating on him with her boyfriend Elon Musk, whom she dated publicly after their divorce. This exact accusation also made it into the defamation lawsuit in March 2019. The legal documents read, quote, "Unbeknownst to Mr. Depp, no later than 1 month after his marriage to Miss Heard, she was spending time in a new relationship with Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk." It goes on to say that while Depp was out of the country filming in March 2015, Eastern Columbia building personnel testified that Miss Heard received Musk late at night in their shared penthouse, and she specifically asked front desk staff to give her friend Elon access to the building's parking garage and the penthouse elevator late at night. And get this, the front desk staff would go on to testify that they saw Musk leaving the building the next morning. If the actress ever hopes to clear her name, she's going to need to set the record straight about her relationship with Elon Musk, because even after Depp won the trial, he tweeted support for both of them, saying, quote, At their best, each of them is amazing. Number 8. Her ex-assistant's claims. The testimony from Amber Heard's ex-personal assistant, Kate James, who claimed that while working for Heard, she was verbally aggressive towards her and would send a barrage of hateful text messages on the regular. And when asked for evidence of these messages, James replied with a straight answer, quote, "I was using a phone that was logged into her iCloud account. When she terminated my employment, she deleted all of the texts from the cloud," which proves that Heard was calculating enough to essentially wipe away all the evidence of her wrongdoing. I mean, the whole reason she wrote the op-ed was to stand up to powerful men who use their position to mistreat those beneath them. But that's exactly what she was doing to all the people that worked under her, like when she screamed at Depp's sound engineer for daring to talk to her. James also claimed that Heard essentially stole her story about being violently attacked and twisted it into her own. In her tell-all book, the actress will most likely expose why she suddenly fired James in 2015 without much explanation other than that she couldn't afford her salary of $25 an hour. Talk about suspicious.
Number 7. Jury's opinion. One story that came out immediately after the trial was that of an apparent juror who had taken to TikTok to share their experiences of being present in the courthouse. It appears that while Amber may have felt her performance on the stand was great, even though she couldn't get any tears out, people saw right through her, and the secret's out that she's maybe not a very good actress. They said that from the very beginning, they had a feeling that something was off about Amber and that everything she was saying just had the aura of being untrue. We all saw during the trial the way she would sniffle with dry eyes, looking towards the jury to try and gain their sympathy. But the TikTokers said that they had seen right through it, and the constant eye contact and pleading had just made them all very uncomfortable, ultimately finishing it off by saying, "Amber Heard, what a crazy woman." Even her old acting coach said that when Amber was acting, she was never able to make herself cry.
Number 6. The audio recordings. The audio recordings played during Johnny Depp's testimony show Heard admitting to starting a physical fight between them and downplaying his reaction to the incident. They were discussing their explosive March 2015 Australia fight that resulted in Depp's right middle finger being severed at the tip. In what was basically a confession, she said, quote, "I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I didn't punch you." She also told him to grow up and called him a baby. The recording was damning evidence which got the jury to consider that it might have been Heard who was the instigator in the relationship. When speaking on NBC, she said that the tapes were edited after being uploaded online. Quote, "What you hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening." She claimed that the 20-second clips are not representative of the 2 or 3 hour conversations from which they came from. Now, if she wants to get any credibility back, she's going to have to back up those claims and release the full audio from those conversations and not just write about it in her book.
Halfway number 5 spoke highly of the relationship. Heard's testimony painted the highs and lows of the relationship, and before getting into the bad times, Heard made the time to tell the jury about all the good times the couple had together. Amber Heard fought back tears as she told the jury about falling in love with Johnny Depp on the press tour for The Rum Diary in 2011, saying that being with him felt like magic. Adding, quote, "I felt like this man knew me, saw me, in a way that nobody else had. When I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the world. It made me feel seen. It made me feel like $1 million." Clearly highlighting the relationship between the pair was not always toxic, and there were a lot of good times in the beginning.
Number 4. Her real finances. The trial has raised some serious questions about whether Heard's pockets are deep enough to foot the bill that she owes Depp, exactly $10.35 million. The actress admitted that she was unable to donate the $7 million to charity after her divorce in 2017 because her ex-husband had filed a $50 million lawsuit against her. But if Heard cannot fulfill her obligation to pay Depp's damages, the court may choose to take part of her current and future wages. But Heard's messy financial issues are now coming to light, as Terence Doherty, an executive for the ACLU, testified about a $3.5 million pledge that Heard made to the organization after her divorce settlement with Depp. The fact is that only $1.3 million of the $3.5 million has been made so far, and Heard suspended her payments to the ACLU in 2019 due to financial difficulties. After their divorce, she applied for spousal support, asking for $50,000 per month to cover her various expenses, including $10,000 for rent, $2,000 for eating out, and $10,000 for pet supplies and legal costs. She's clearly living above her means, and many people wonder how exactly it is that she's going to pay Depp back.
Number 3. Secret notebook. It seems more secrets could be coming out thanks to one trial viewer's so-called secret notebook that they auctioned online. They had a notebook that they wrote in from days 23 to 26 of the trial, which wrote down everything from jury reactions, Johnny's interactions with his lawyers, and even Amber's actions within the courtroom. The notebook seems to have sold for a whopping $14,000, with all the profits being said to be donated to a children's hospital. Let's just hope they mean donated and not pledged. As cameras can only show us so much, these writings may give us an insight into Amber and her actions throughout the trial that we outside were unable to see, though we may never find out, as the sale of the notebook came with the stipulation that it could not be photocopied or reproduced in any way. So we just have to wait and see if the buyer feels like sharing the contents with us.
Number 2. How she got the Aquaman role. During the trial, DC Films president Walter Hamada said in a pre-taped deposition from March 15th that Heard and Momoa weren't well matched as a screen couple. Quote, "They didn't really have a lot of chemistry together." He added, "I think editorially they were able to make that relationship work in the first movie, but there was concern that it took a lot of effort to get there, which makes it pretty clear that Heard didn't get the role solely based on her audition, because even the best actors just can't fake chemistry." Over the course of the trial, it was eventually revealed that Depp played a major role in getting her cast after she auditioned, even claiming that he made a phone call to Warner Brothers executives to seal the deal. The thing is, if she ever wants another role in Hollywood, she absolutely needs to refute these claims, because any casting director who hires her is going to get a lot of flack for it, and risk their project being boycotted from the get-go. It would be a PR nightmare. Number 1. Suppressed evidence. This is a big one, and the only substantial thing that she's still holding over Johnny Depp. In her NBC interview, she mentioned that there was so much evidence which was left out of the US trial. In fact, she had already shared some of it during the interview in the form of therapist notes, which she alleged that Depp had physically attacked her. Quote, "There's a binder worth of years of notes dating back to 2011, from the very beginning of my relationship, that were taken by my doctor. These notes date back to 2012 and continue until the couple split in 2016. And on one page, the therapist wrote that Heard claimed Depp had hit her and threw her to the floor. Another note 8 months later said that Depp had ripped her nightgown and threw her on the bed." She told Savannah Guthrie that the notes represented years of real-time explanations of what was going on. Although this new evidence has already been criticized as fake, Heard clearly believes she has much more to reveal, and she's saving it for her revenge book.